achieved for us to have gender equity? Because you said there's a point where you mentioned that there's no way a man and a woman will be the same. But yet we're here having this conversation about wanting to ensure that we have an equal platform where men and women are heard as equal.
Let me give you, I've mentioned that this conversation should, number one, acknowledge our fundamental and natural differences.
Okay.
And number two, the conversation should be pegged on opportunities and rights. Now, talking about the engineering, just a minute. The University of Nairobi, when students are applying to be engineers, what you need is the grades that are required, and if you are able to afford the fees. I don't believe the engineering department says we are going to take 5 girls and 100 boys, are they? But how comes that we have more male students in the engineering department than female? So the opportunity is there. But now we overlook this and trivialize any other differences. It's, like I've mentioned, it has got very little to do with discrimination. It just happens that when it comes to the aptitudes of the men, they are systematic and they are analytical, and that is why they thrive in STEM courses, and we thrive in careers that needs empathy and nurturing. Simple biology, very little to do with the noise that feminists are making.
Michael Michelle. Okay, I'd like Michelle to chime in and just I want to hear your sentiments regarding the same as we proceed to the next question. How is it a concern for men, and how does it apply so that men can help women come on board and also be heard as equally as men?
Great. First of all, I admire your passion. That is awesome. Keep burning. Now, let me start off by saying, I believe in gender equality rather. I have a wife and I have a daughter, so I'd love for them to have the equal opportunity just as the guys would. So I agree with the panelists on the right, and I'll say that generally, men are geared towards loving things, and women towards loving people. So in many cases, especially in society, you find that biology determines or defines what we do later in life, and also culture as well. Let me give an example. Men, we love cars. I'm sure guys love cars. Personally, my car, I named her Valerie. Not because I have a thing with a Valerie somewhere, but I just love to name the cars. And so my brothers as well and my friends, they also name their vehicles the same way. Now, when you look at statistics, and I'll go down to the US because they do a lot of statistics, um, when you look at careers such as nursing, in the US there are just about 3.2 million nurses. And out of the 3.2 million, only 330%, 330,000, sorry, which is a representation of 9% are male, which means there's 91% female and 9% male. Now let's look at aviation. I love flying and I'm a pilot. So in aviation alone, around the whole world, only 5% of pilots are women. If you look at Canada, for example, Air Canada has 3,200 pilots, and of that, 160 are women. That's a representative of 5%. Now, it doesn't mean that they prefer to have male or female. It says that some careers, female tends to love going to certain careers more than men just because of how they are designed biologically. Now, I have been an employer. Through my hands, I've employed more than 500 people, and I normally give the same opportunity to men and women. I don't discriminate. If you can do the job, go ahead and do it. So we do events, we do concerts, we do live streaming, and when we normally tell the guys to carry speakers, we find that the guys are the ones who carry the speakers, and the ladies, they don't want to break their nails, they want to look pretty. So in many cases, we find that the men are the ones who come and carry the speakers. So when I look across, I see that sometimes opportunities are there. It's not that um, as an employer you want to discriminate, but you want to see who really wants the job. Now, when it comes to our society, and this is my point for this particular discussion, I have noticed that, of course, we live in a particular society where men are the dominant in many places. And this conversation is heard across the world, even in many other countries. So I think it's important that the ladies who are able to influence men in their own position, whether it could be their family, should go ahead and do it. And some of the things may not happen right now, but eventually in the future it will happen, and that's why we're having some of this discussion. Look at Saudi Arabia, for example. For a very long time, ladies were not allowed to drive cars. They only allowed to drive cars as much as 2018 is when they're actually given driving license. So in this discussion, I would say that it's important that ladies, as much as it's all discrimination and you're living in a man-dominated society, you also need to stand up and have the confidence to actually go and say, I can actually do this and I can do it better than this man next to you. Thank you.
All right, before you hand over your microphone, there's a place where you mentioned that you have an employer. And I'd really just like to maybe understand a little bit in terms of leadership, when it comes to leadership, maybe companies, political spheres, just any professional zone. Do you think or do you feel like women deliver the maximum as compared to men?
All right, that's a good question. For my experience, it depends on an individual. There's no particular person who delivers more than the other. Just depends on the drive. We have had situations where we've interviewed, and the man has come and said, I can do this job and giving you all the good things. But then when they actually come to the job, they don't do much. But then we've also had ladies who might come, they may not be able to represent themselves well in terms of articulation and how they present themselves in the interview. But then when they actually do the job, you end up saying that the performance are doing much better. And I'll give you an example. When I was working with Wananchi Group, which is a company that does internet, we had about 120 employees, both in Nairobi and Mombasa. The top 20 individuals in the company were women. And in terms of the employment, it was maybe 50-50, but the women are actually doing better. So I can't say that one actually does better than the other. This just depends on the individual and their drive to do that particular work.
On that same note, anyone who has ever like gone for job hunting or job searching, there's always that percent that if you go like let's say 3 ladies and 2 guys, most likely the ladies will be employed faster than the male or than the butcher. Is that true, guys? Have you ever heard of such a story? So I just want you to chime in and then we can chip back to work and then come back to Diana real quickly.
Okay, on that point, just before we go forward, in some cases, I know we've done some jobs in customer care and customer-oriented activities. It's true that at some point, ladies do better inside certain jobs than men. For example, if I have a big company and I have a front office desk, I'm not going to put someone there who anakama kula, skari nguru ama mandazi ngumu hapo. I want the clients are coming in to actually see, that it's a nice company and see the face of the company. So I guess it also depends on the kind of job and what you're actually doing. And that is why sometimes you'll find that some ladies, even despite having a man who has equal qualities, will actually be preferred for that particular role.
Okay, thank you. Just hold it there. I want us to come to Diana and then